Hey everyone, my name is Alexandra and I am a watercolor artist. Welcome to part 2 of my bonus videos for Valentine's Day, where we are painting watercolor Valentine's cards in under 10 minutes. For today's video, I am going to show you guys how to paint a super simple, really easy, really cute little envelope with some florals. Let's get started. All right, so for supplies today, I have 2 cups of water, 1 for clean, 1 for dirty water, a napkin for drying my paintbrush. I am using Art Philosophy & Co.'s Decadent Pies watercolor palette. For paper, I'm using 140-pound cold press paper. I have a pencil for drawing and Opus Allegro's No. 2 watercolor paintbrush. The first thing that I'm gonna get you guys to do is draw a super simple rectangle on your page. So feel free to use a ruler for this if you'd like, or just go for it. So the top line, I'm actually just gonna do a really light line that's sort of to be used more as a guideline. Now, we're gonna draw diagonal lines going down across your page. I'm gonna do one that sort of looks like it's sticking over top, one in behind, and then coming from the top, I'm just doing a really simple triangle shape, except I'm just gonna round that top portion of it. And I noticed that my envelope is a little bit crooked on my page, so I'm just gonna lengthen the one side to straighten it out a bit. Which means I just gotta straighten this line out a little bit. Okay. So there's a semi-perfect rectangle. So first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna paint in our envelope. You guys can paint this in any color that you want. I sort of have this kind of metallic-y pinkish color on my palette. So I think I'm gonna use that. And I'm just gonna start by painting in this first shape. I know on the video, sometimes it's hard to see the pencil. So now that I'm painting, this will give you guys just a better idea of how to shape your envelope. And I'm actually gonna switch and I'm just gonna add in a paintbrush that's slightly bigger because it'll make it a bit easier. So I'm using Opus Allegro's No. 4. So what I want to do is I want to fill in this section with water and paint, and then I like the look it has just to give it a little bit more dimension. So now that it's wet and sort of a nice light color, I'm gonna go back in with the color I was using and just add some more pigmented paint to the bottom there. And I'll just let it bleed into the rest of that. So now we're gonna do the same thing and paint the other side of our envelope. And I'm just sort of keeping it away from this edge for now, just so that it has time to dry a little bit so I can see the difference between the two sides. And now, because this layer is kind of the one that's sitting in behind, I can go with some darker paint right along that edge. Too much water on there, so I'll just pick some of that up. And I'm just gonna clean up some that's sort of bleeding into that other side. So we can add some more details as that dries. But the next thing that we're going to do is start painting our little flowers. So easiest way to start with this is just by painting some stems. Actually, sorry, backtracking just a little bit. We're just gonna paint in, I'm gonna use sort of a very light version of what I used for down below. And I'm just gonna paint in the rest of the envelope so that we can see where it is. So I'm using a really light, kind of pinky creamy color. All right, so I just wanted to add that extra layer in just because it gives some more definition to actually see where the envelope is. So now I'm gonna go in with green. I'm going in with a decently watered down green. And I'm just gonna paint stems coming out of my envelope. So I'm gonna paint them sort of varying in length and direction. They can kind of overlap each other, and we'll add in the flowers after. So now that it sort of just looks like I have grass sticking out of my envelope, we're gonna go in and we're gonna paint some flowers to stick out of it. So I'm gonna go in with this more red color here, and I'm just gonna start with super simple flower at the top here. So kind of the idea is that I'm painting 3 sort of teardrop shapes, but I'm leaving some white gaps in the middle of them just to give it some more interest and depth. So I'm gonna do that again down here, but just a smaller version of it. And I'll do another little one over here that kind of overlaps that other stem that I had painted. All right, and I want to mix in a bunch of different colors for this. So I have this sort of gold paint on my palette here, as well as a peachy one. I'm just going to mix the two just a little bit. And I'm going to paint some mini little yellow flowers. So for these ones, I'm just doing a cluster of little yellow dots scattered around the stem that I want to have the yellow flowers. So I'll do another one down here and just cluster the little yellow and gold flowers. So it's nothing super specific or defined here. It's just a little cluster of circles around either side of the stem. All right, so now we're gonna go in and we'll paint in some blue flowers. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of this brighter blue with the navy. And I'm gonna paint sort of like forget-me-nots. I'm just gonna add a little bit more water, just tiny little flowers sticking or surrounding the stems. So I can kind of go for that 5 petals look if I want. I can make some look like they're facing upwards. Can add some more branches in after and space some a little bit away from where I've actually painted the stem. And I'm gonna do one more little cluster of the blue ones down here. I just wanna balance out where I'm putting each color, just so that you can really see the separation. So another cluster there, and then we'll add some into the middle here. All right, and I'm just gonna fill out the gaps where I don't quite have flowers yet. So now that I've done all that, I wanna go in and I'm gonna go back in with green. I'm gonna make these stand out a lot more, and we're gonna add some leaves as well. So I can start by going over that first flower that I painted, and we'll add just some little leaves on either side. And then I'm just gonna go through and do that to all my flowers. I can add little branches with just leaves if I want. By adding that darker green in, it just defines what we've painted a little bit more. Right, and now that I've done that, I'm gonna add a tiny bit more shading to my little flowers that I have here. So to these reddish ones, I'm just gonna go in with a darker red right at the base of them, just to add a little bit more depth of color. And now with that same red, I'm gonna water it down a little bit. And I'm just gonna paint along the line where the paper would cross over for the envelope. And we're just gonna mix that in and blend it in just so that we can see that contrast. And we're gonna finish this card off by just writing at the bottom of it. I'm gonna put at the bottom of mine, sending my love. For that, I think I want to do a bit of a handwritten writing. So I'm just gonna go starting from one end of my paper. And for this design specifically, I like the idea of doing the scripted writing, just because if you think often of sending a letter or writing someone, it often is in handwriting, maybe less now, but that's what I think of when I think of letters. So there you guys have another watercolor Valentine's card in under 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed. If you followed along, make sure to take a picture of what you painted and send it to me on Instagram at Alexandra Victoria Studio. Also, if you guys have anything super specific or general that you want to learn in a future video, please make sure to leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next time.